If you look at the history of cycling, the invention itself, they almost got it right 100 years ago. The engineering or sort of the development of it, obviously there's still two-spoked wheels, a saddle, handlebars. Generally there'll be like a double diamond frame. You look back at history and the bicycles have gone nearly unchanged. The user interface, or how easy they are to use, or people just to get on them, is completely different. They're a lot easier to shift, brake, they're more comfortable. All of the sort of interface aspects of it for people getting on the bikes is much, much more user-friendly, and you don't have to be a super cyclist guy to get on a bike and enjoy it anymore.
Well, the earliest cycling in Arkansas actually starts back in the mid-1880s. A lot of people had noticed that there was a beautiful lithographic print of Little Rock. And if you looked in the upper right-hand corner of that print, you would see something labeled bicycle track. In fact, on August the 4th, 1886, and for that entire week, there was a bicycle race that included professional bicyclists from the U.S., Canada, and a lot of local amateurs too. At that time, there was a very popular bicycling club in Little Rock called the Arkansas Traveler Bicycling Club. And the bicycle races were held in an area called West End Park, which was a privately owned park, which now is the location of Central High School. There would be thousands of people showing up to watch the races at West End Park. It was basically a big street party that would actually start from downtown, where they would ride the cable cars all the way to the area which is now Central High School. And along the way there were marching bands and there were parties, and after the races there were dancing. So it was just a sense of community that brought people together, and just basically thousands of people coming together to watch people race. The other interesting thing about it is, of course, people then didn't race on bicycles as we think of them today. They were riding on what were called ordinary bicycles, or the penny farthing bike. Now these are the bikes that are kind of the spindly bikes with a big giant wheel in front. They were notorious for people going over the handlebars on them if anything happened. Modern bicycle, or the safety bicycle as we call it, was invented, but people weren't really riding that much in races because they weren't very well refined. The ordinary bicycles, though, were capable of really great speed, and some of the races the people were riding 16 to 18 miles an hour over the 10-mile race course. And West End Park was really interesting because not only did it have a bicycle track, it had the largest grandstand in the state of Arkansas. Going into the early 1890s, there was this new phenomenon that occurred. It was called baseball. And the track there was just perfect for playing baseball. A gentleman that some people in Little Rock may know by the name of Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, was a prominent figure in minor league baseball. And eventually, apparently, the interest in cycling just waned for a long period of time, going into the 1950s. And in the 1950s, mid-1950s, a bicycle plant was built in Little Rock, the AMF bicycle plant. It was one of the largest bicycling plants in the United States at the time. The Cleveland, Ohio-based company opened a bicycle manufacturing facility in Little Rock. By the time the $1,250,000 plant became fully operational in the fall of 1956, it employed about 650 people. In the first year, the plant produced somewhere around 250,000 bikes. And within about 2 years, production increased to 450,000 annually. The plant manufactured Roadmaster and Shelby model bicycles, and the plant closed in 1980. So going in through the 1950s, there was major production at the AMF facility where they were building about 3,000 bicycles a day, and when they were in full production. One of the things they were noted for at the AMF plant was that their bikes had a powder coating paint finish on it. This was something new in the manufacturing process that made the frames of the bicycles very durable. And AMF offered a lifetime warranty on their bicycle frames, which was sort of unique in that industry. It was a brand new state-of-the-art facility that ran 3 conveyor lines continuously. It was located at 52nd and Patterson. The building is still there. It's kind of a unique building that people see. It has an unusual roof line on it. It was one of the major manufacturing facilities that sort of anchored that area.
In Arkansas, you know, I've been really blessed to be able to ride a lot of the trails here. When I started in this business, we'd have to go out of state usually to find comparable trails. We would have to go usually western part of the country. Mountain biking has made hiking type trails so accessible for people that want to, I would call it accelerated hiking. Go out and be on a trail but not be committed to being out there as long and covering more ground. So I think once we got over the initial influx of cycling and how it affected hiking and everything else, I see a lot of more like an alliance now, and you see trails that have developed because of that here in our state, and I think they're as good as anything I've ever ridden. You hear from people saying, yeah, I mean to get down there, I heard the riding's great. And you hear that on the manufacturing side and on just the rider side, and those tend to be really linked. Most people in this business ride bikes, and so we've had a lot of folks come down from manufacturers, tourists, other bike shops have all come down here and ridden with us, and it's great. You know, I started riding because I needed to be by myself for part of that day. I was always been in service business. I used to be in the bar business, and if I didn't have it, that time to myself, I'd get pretty grumpy. So it's still what drives me. I mean, I'm a dad now and part of this business, and talk about bikes all day, but it doesn't keep me from wanting to ride. I think that on the tourist side and something to do for fitness, it's just going to keep growing. What I hope happens is that people start swinging a leg over a bicycle to actually use it for what it was originally intended for, to go somewhere, to be somewhere. And sometimes that's physically going somewhere, and sometimes that turns into maybe it's more metaphysical. I'm going to get away from whatever in my job or something's bothering me. I'm going to use the bike to kind of ride away from that literally for a while.